Whoa, quite a
We're
conversation we're having here. Yeah, we're already get this interview started.
Yep.
Attorney General William Barr is preparing a summary of Robert Mueller's report on Russian collusion in the 2016 election.
Local attorney Vikas Bajaj joins us this morning with more on what we can expect and some of the fallout from the what-if scenario. So good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, you know, obviously last week we learned that Robert Mueller has concluded his investigation. He says there's no more indictments expected,
Yes.
and that he will release it to the Attorney General, and now Attorney General Barr may release bullet points. Tell us what could happen after that.
Well, if you look at what should happen procedurally under the law following the United States Constitution, it should be the end of this inquiry. There should be no more of an allegation of the Trump administration colluding with Russia in order to influence our 2016 allegations for the election being affected. Practically, though, you won't see that happen. What you will see is the left doing the best that they can to extract the actual investigation, the foundation of the summaries that will be presented to the people of the United States of America. One would ask why. If the jury has been sworn in and the jury gave a verdict, well, why do we need to go back and try to unring the bell? Well, we have an election coming up in 2020. And as we've talked about many times before, together, the three of us, we've seen that a lot of the politicians during the open judiciary hearings in Congress have really not been geared towards finding fact. It's really geared towards getting a good snippet, a good 20-second soundbite for the 2020 election. So will it end? Absolutely not. Legally, constitutionally, it will come to an end quickly, but you can see many of the politicians grasping upon a need to have the foundational reports that really have no effect at this point in time, but as ammunition for the election coming up.
But as you said earlier, when we were off camera, it shows that it works. The results of this show that the system does work.
I tell you what, in our household on Friday when we understood that the report was coming out, which led to the conclusion that in all likelihood there will not be any more indictments, it was a cause for celebration. And as we were talking about before, if you count on your hands, I don't think you can, if you include even the toes on your feet, how many hugs have been lost, how many handshakes have been lost from our friends, colleagues, and people that we just associate with. The amount of divisiveness that this issue has created is something that needed to be resolved. And as we see here, Robert Mueller has had an unimpeachable career. And Donald Trump could have done his best to impede his investigation and to pull him off the firing line. But he didn't do that because the Trump administration, I believe, had a good understanding that this is a case that, figuratively speaking, should have been presented to the jury, and they're very confident with the outcome. I believe it's very good for our society. I think this is a cause for celebration, and it's a cause probably to call some of our friends who we haven't talked to in a while and say, well, you know what? The system works. We now have the facts, the unadulterated facts. We have the conclusions that we can rely on, and let's get on with our daily life. It'll allow our society, I believe, both politically and practically, to focus on what the Trump administration has done. Border security, our economy is on fire. We are turning into, again, the world's leader economically as far as our military is concerned, and also our social justice. We are a pioneer for the worldwide microscope on injustices to human treatment. And I believe the United States has done a great thing here. It's a cause for celebration. I don't believe we should uncork the champagne and say, I told you so, I told you so. It's not about that. It's about the fact finders coming forward after a methodical, no-holds-barred investigation that's taken almost 2 full years without one punch being pulled. We have to understand, special counsel is special for many reasons, not the least of which is there are no bounds and no boundaries to what special counsel can have in their arsenal. They have unlimited funding, the power of administrative subpoenas and private subpoenas that we've seen, and search warrants and wiretaps if they want it. It is an unbridled discretion to allow for the most methodical, thorough investigation that I believe our country has seen in the modern era. So it is a cause for celebration.
Really quick, because we have to go, but I'm curious about this. With the, you said the system worked. But this is also an investigation that started from a dirty dossier. So do you think there's going to be changes in the system and how an investigation would go forward after this?
I don't think there'll be a change in the system. I don't think the system is broken. I think some of the actors who employ the system are broken. And I think that has come to the forefront here. And let's hope that there is responsibility that has to be on the shoulders from those who may have fabricated evidence, for instance, which led to the most intrusive violation of our Fourth Amendment, which is a FISA warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, Vic Bajaj, always great to have you in.
Likewise.
Appreciate it.
Interesting what gets released.
As soon as
Absolutely.
today, then we might be releasing.
Right.
We
some
are
of the
told,
content.
absolutely.
But any part that gets redacted, the other side is going to say, oh, we'll see in there.
Right.
That's the key piece of information,
That's
even
right.
though there's no further indictments
Until
expected.
after 2020.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you for your insight.
It's my
Thanks, Vic.
pleasure. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.